Hi guys, it's Rand, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about this last week. I'm not going to be talking about dolls today. I'm going to hopefully plan to resume that on the next video. But this week's been one of the hardest weeks of my life. Some of you may already know from if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook that my mother died last Saturday morning on July 21st. And it was quite a shock. She really hadn't been sick, so there was no reason to think that she wasn't going to make it past that day. And of course, there's been a lot of emotions, and her funeral was Friday morning, which thank goodness went very as well as a funeral can go, I mean. And so today I just wanted to talk to you guys, and because I don't consider you just viewers, but a lot of you I've talked to for years, and so you're more than viewers to me, and some of you I know better than others. So I wanted to share a little bit about my mom today. Her name's Sybil DeStefano, and she was 72 years old. And I want to show you a few pictures and just do a short tribute to her because she was a remarkable woman in a lot of ways. Very strong person, strong lady who survived a lot of hardship in her life. She had a very tough life, especially from about age 14 on till recently. So, first of all, I want to show you this picture of her it's probably my favorite picture of her. And she had it taken at a department store portrait studio some few years back. I couldn't tell you. I'd say, I mean, at least 10 years. I'm not sure exactly when this was. And actually, this is not the original picture because the original picture, she only had one because my mom was definitely not a wealthy person and she didn't have a lot of money. So at the time when she did it, I think she just got the free part. I don't think she bought any extras. So anyway, we had the one picture. It somehow got damaged and had some water damage on it somewhere. And some years back, I used a program to restore it and made it look like it does today. And then I put it in black and white at the time, I mean. So probably somewhere I still have the original color one, but I really like this. And all my siblings had a copy or have a copy, and my mom also had one too. So yeah, I just want to show you this because this is one of my favorite pictures, if not my favorite picture of her. I think it's very nice one. Also, I really like this picture, which is her when she was 2 years old, I believe she said. And this is her mom, Ida, and of course blowing out some birthday candles on a cake. One of the things that was so tough in her life was that her mother had a stroke when she was, I believe, 12 and became basically an invalid, that couldn't do a lot for herself and was in a wheelchair, I believe. And so then it became two young kids and the mother and a working father, and it was very difficult. She was from, by the way, Cleveland, Ohio. So was born in 1945 in Cleveland. And later her father died, I think like 2 years after her mother's stroke. And her family, unfortunately, she had family probably in that area, I don't know how many, and in other areas, but they didn't feel like they could take her, so she was put into a girls' home, a home for girls. And it was a home for troubled girls because by that time, because of everything that was happening in her life, she was having some rebellion issues, some issues with dealing with people in authority, so they didn't want her. They didn't want her. Her brother, who was a little bit older than her, was put into foster care, I believe, and he was eventually, I think, adopted. But my mom was in a girls' school or home for a while, and eventually she ran away. And she went from Ohio to Pennsylvania, and she was only 14 or 15 at the time. And her mother was still alive, but her mother had been put into a home as well since she couldn't take care of herself. And from that age of, let's say, 15 to my mom was 21, her mother was alive in the home and she wanted to go see her, but she was afraid that if she went back to Ohio from Pennsylvania, she would be taken into custody because she felt like the state of Ohio, and I believe this was the case, had authority over her until she turned 21. Well, when she turned 21, she found out her mother had died shortly before that. So it was very sad. And, you know, my mom got through, like I said, a lot. So that's why I really do consider her a true survivor. Um, I was born when my mom was 21, and so it was about that time that's when she, after she turned 21 and had me, she wanted to find her mom, but unfortunately found out her mother had passed away. So it was too late. So, um, one other picture I wanted to show you was our family picture from I believe this was the 70s. I think this was around 1979 or 78, something like that. And you can kind of tell from the clothes. So, this is me, if you didn't notice. That's me. This is my little brother, Rick. He's a year and a half younger than I am. This is my brother, Robert, and my sister, Kathy, and that's my mom, Sybil. I love the hair back then, by the way, on her. But I had just gotten over chicken pox. So I was a little self-conscious. I had still a couple pox showing, but you really can't see them in the picture. But I think this is a really nice picture, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Also, my mom, because she did have such a rough life, and I only told you just a few things about her life, but there's a lot more. She always wanted to write a book. She wanted to write the story of her life, and it's hard to write a book and, you know, somebody type it up, and this was years ago when they probably would have still used a typewriter, I don't know. But I had come up with an idea about 12 years ago to get her story recorded, but not in book format, in video format. And this is something I want to recommend to all of you out there. If you have someone, it really doesn't have to be a parent, but someone you really love and care about, and you're worried about what about after they're gone. My mom wanted to tell her story so badly for two main reasons. One, because she wanted future generations that wouldn't know her maybe, or little ones that didn't get to know her well, to have a way to know about her life. And second, my mom was a very strong Christian woman, all her adult life pretty much, and she never wavered in that. And she wanted to also share her story because she felt like God's presence in her life. So what I told her, I said, Mom, why don't we record it? I'll ask you questions, and you can tell your story. And believe me, if you ask my mom a question, you don't have to say much, and she's off and running. So she's a talker. And so we did that. About 12 years ago, we sat down 6 different times for an hour each time approximately, and she told her story. We called it Sybil's story. And so this is a more recent picture of her, by the way. And this is her as a little girl on the front steps. And this is another picture of my mom and my siblings and my family. My father wasn't in the picture most of my life, so that's why he's not in these pictures. But anyway, this is part 1, which on a DVD disc, there's about 2 hours can fit on it. So there were 6 hours of material. Now, if somebody was going to do a documentary, obviously they'd edit this down and they'd make it an hour or less, probably. But we weren't doing a documentary. We're just letting Mom tell her story. And so it's not edited. There was a little tiny intro added on. But other than that, it's Sybil's story through and through. And I would never expect anyone to sit and watch 6 hours, of course. But even I, in the last week, have watched parts of this. And it's given me some comfort that I still have some videos of her. And I have some other videos from birthday parties and things, including recently, 2 years ago, we did her 70th birthday. She would have been 73 in November. So I'm so glad to have this. And I think if anybody has the chance to just get a camera, everybody has cameras these days. I mean, back then we were doing it with a big video camera. And just sit there and talk to them about their lives or about their current life or anything you want to. If you're at all interested, I just think, like me, you're going to be so glad you have this. So this is not a commercial. This is just to talk about my mom's particular story and what she wanted to do, and I'm so glad we did this. But yes, there are 3 DVDs, so part 1, part 2, and part 3. So slowly I'm going to go through them. I've watched about an hour so far, or something like that, over time. Like I said, it's been a really rough week, and it's, of course, that's to be expected, but you just don't know how you're going to feel when you lose your mother, or someone that's really important to you like that. And I was very close to her, and I'm going to miss her terribly. But at least I have these memories and a ton of pictures and some videos, and I will always cherish the time we had together. So, thank you guys for watching, and take care of yourself. Bye.